Yo, people always ask me what kind of frames I'm rocking. I've been rocking Caddis for a couple years. They make amazing progressive readers, which I wear. Also, they make sunglass readers, anti-glare, anti-smudge coating, anti-scratch, and anti-aging. That's why I look mad young when I wear them. I'm just kidding. But they make amazing frames. Caddis, so stoked to have you guys part of the podcast. You can go to caddislife.com/Toby10 and get $10 off your first purchase. Stoked. Thank you, Caddis. Welcome to the fam. Yo, Liquid Death, thank you so much for hydrating all my guests, taking care of me and my family and my friends. Love your water, love your brand, love what you stand for, love what you give back to the community. If you want to learn more about Liquid Death and how it started, listen to episode 115 with the co-founder, owner, and creator of Liquid Death, Mike Cesario. Just a punk rock skateboarding kid from Delaware with a dream. It's an incredible story, incredible journey. They have now blessed me with my own code. So if you go liquiddeath.com/Toby, you get free shipping on any items you order from liquiddeath.com. Thank you so much, Liquid Death. Death to plastic, murder your thirst, stay hydrated. You know H2O saves lives. Welcome to the One Life One Chance podcast. I'm your host, Toby Morse. Today, to the right of me, I got my brother from another mother back on the podcast, Mr. Derek Green. He's been gone for a minute.
What's up?
Welcome back, Derek. And then sitting in front of me, we got Mr. Seth. I'm just going to call you Seth. People know you're Shifty. I'm going to call you Seth because you're an adult.
Yes, I'm an adult.
You're a grown-ass man. But Shifty is a dope name.
Thank you.
Shifty Shellshock.
Shifty Shellshock.
And where did that come from, that name? Who called you that?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what happened is I was Kaya when I was younger.
Kaya.
Because weed was the most important thing in my
Is this a graffiti name or some shit or no?
Well, I was back one. Like growing up in
Okay.
LA, like I grew up doing like one of my first endeavors in chaos was graffiti, and so like I'm from CBS.
Okay, yeah, another crew, yeah.
And AWR and West Coast, and
So you started writing that.
I started writing at. It was the first thing. It's a cool story, but graffiti. Probably 12 years old. I was just killing it. Like
That's crazy. 'Cause I grew up in New York, so it was definitely different graffiti vibes there compared to the West Coast.
that's kind of where I found because I was born in LA, but my dad moved took us to Boston because he was in the advertising business.
Yeah.
So he got a good gig out there. So I went to Boston, and I really there was Boston's all about punk rock. So I grew up around. I worked at a little skate shop there when I was little, putting together. I always worked at Rip City also for a long time, but
Yeah.
so I worked at a skate shop, and it was all about music and skateboarding. And so my uncle lived in the soup factory in Brooklyn.
Okay.
So we would go. My dad would take us for little trips into Brooklyn, and that's where I found hip hop. And
Nice.
it was right across from like these projects where I would be on the street with these little kids, and like Run DMC would go down the street in a limo, and we would all chase the limousine.
Holy shit.
And I remember like being in these rap circles that were across the street from my uncle's, and I was so little. And that's where I saw like battle rapping, and like I remember like Roxanne, Shanti, and like all these crazy people that were massive were like just there rapping, and I'd like watch them. Wow. And so
what year was that? 80s or something, or?
I mean, yeah, we're talking early 80s.
Yeah.
And that's where like, I got my first boombox, and I really I was breakdancing. That was my big thing. So I learned breakdancing, and I would go up there and I'd take like what I learned in Brooklyn back to the kids in Boston. And I had like Boston wired because I would put out my cardboard, and it's like a full boating town, like tourist. I lived in Marblehead, which is like the lobster, it's like lobsters and boats, and basically I would set up my cardboard and my boombox, and I would make a killing. Because they were like, what is this kid doing? And I would break dance down there, and it's my first little bank account called the Circuit Breakers.
Circuit Breakers?
Yeah, and my mom was like, you're killing it. I'd come home with like $300 a day. Like, I'm like 11 years old.
You doing windmills and shit like that too?
You know what? I'd be lying. Windmills was...
I could almost do them, but no.
I was really good at flares and popping and all my stuff, but windmills was that one. Like, I could do it, but I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
You had a lot of freedom as a kid, like to roam. Like, what were your parents? What were they doing as far as
strict parents?
Career-wise?
Yeah.
Well, my dad. It's a cool story. My dad grew up in Palm Springs in Indiana, but my dad when he was like in high school, he was a cartoonist. So he started a card company called Cardco. And before he graduated, when he was in like 12th grade, he had the idea to make miniature greeting cards that you could put on the counter, because he was like, if you could put them on the counter by the register, then people would see them. And so he made these like novelty little cards, and Hallmark bought it for $1 million back then.
Oh, shit.
They bought the idea. So then that like launched my dad into a career of advertising.
Gotcha.
And then he was best friends with Marshall Chess from Chess Records. So my dad, then he went from doing greeting cards to starting an advertising agency in Chicago. And he started doing all the album covers for Chess Records.
Oh, wow.
And that's kind of where I found music, is really because like I had like Buddy Miles teaching me how to play the drums. And, and my dad was just cool, man. He was a young hippie with lots of money and blew it. You know, my dad had a drug problem like myself. So, you know, back then, I don't think he was ever as dark as I got, but cocaine and him had a, you know, tight relationship. And so he went from Chess Records, and Marshall Chess managed the Rolling Stones. Yeah. So then they were making the first rock and roll documentary, one of the first rock and roll documentaries, called Ladies and Gentlemen, the Rolling Stones, which my dad got to direct.
Oh, wow.
And that's where he met my mom, who was a producer, and I was conceived.
Okay.
Well, they were doing that.
She was a producer?
Yeah, she was helping produce that.
Of course, yeah.
Sorry about that.
You have any siblings too?
I have 2 little sisters.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And so anyway, so I grew up around music, and and you know, even though my dad wasn't a musician, I got to be around a lot of it.
Yeah.
And
you got the best of both worlds, like music, graffiti, skateboarding, punk rock.
Yeah, it was a good life, you know. And my dad, although my dad really pulled off being a great father, even though he had his addiction and would disappear a lot.
Like that he had an addiction. Like, how old were you around?
Probably too young. You know, I was a smart kid. Like, I remember I was kind of traumatized by it. Like, I remember him going into the bathroom. I would always go. At a young age, I decided school wasn't for me. And I remember my dad would drop me off at school, and by the time he got home, I'd be sitting there.
Oh, my God.
And he'd go, "Why the fuck are you leaving school?" And I said, "Because my teacher's an asshole." And my dad went and met the teacher, and he said, "You're right. She's an asshole. You come to work with me."
Wow. So what grade did you leave school? What grade was that, you think?
3rd grade.
Holy fuck.
So 3rd grade, I didn't completely leave, but I started going to work with my dad.
Yeah, that's cool.
And he would, you know, give me notepads and teach me about art, and I'd get to hang out with musicians and stuff like that, and I had a great time.
Yeah.
I did go back to school. It was just like, for that year, but I always was a rebel when it came to school. I was always getting in trouble, writing on everything, getting kicked out of this school. Yeah. Getting in
tagging
fights,
the school.
Tagging up the school. They'd like come in the next day, and like, I remember I stole this like fluorescent orange spray paint from a construction site.
Oh shit.
And I bombed the whole school. And then the next morning, you know, they called me into the office because some kid said that's his name. And,
oh shit.
And I was like, I had the paint like all in my nails. Yeah, of course. I was just like caught red-handed, literally. Fuck. And so, you know, I would get in trouble. There was things that I did. I was great in art. Yeah. I was great in some things. Right. I loved history. I loved certain things. But I also think I had some learning disabilities. I had this one teacher that was like, I had a problem with math. Maybe I like learned slower than the other kids, or numbers, dyslexia, whatever you want to call it. And she would kind of put me on blast in front of the class and make me feel stupid. Yeah. And so like my reaction to that was to rebel.
Yeah. Right. So what were your goals? Like, what were your goals at that point, that young? Did you want to do music? Did you think about it?
Absolutely. From the second I started breakdancing, I think my first cassette was Herbie Hancock, and I rapped, like, you know, I think in Marblehead, I had my little couple friends,
crew,
and we found the Fat Boys, and we found Run DMC, and we would break dance, and we had linoleum. I have all these like little pictures, and
it's cool.
Then once I got into hip hop, I started writing my own lyrics, but where I totally decided like is when I heard the Beastie Boys album, and that was when we were moving back to LA. I was 11 years old, and my dad put us into. We were in Cabo San Lucas.
Okay.
Well, he looked for a new house, but he was really like partying, and so we were down there for like 2 months.
Damn.
And there was this kid who. Jonas DeCrassel, who I haven't seen. Shout out to Jonas.
Shout out to Jonas if you listen.
Shout out to Jonas if you listen. No, but so anyway, he had this hot older sister that I was in love with, and they were like staying next to us, and his sister would take us for a ride in the Jeep, and she had the Beastie Boys album.
Wow.
And I remember when they left, I was like, I need this. And I stole the cassette. Like, I stole it. I took it. I was like, they're not leaving with this cassette. So I took the cassette and I learned every, lyric to the Beastie Boys. And I wrote my own verse, and I would perform my own verse for my sisters and my mom. And, basically, I felt like the fourth Beastie Boy.
Yeah.
And not the fifth Beatle.
Yeah. Such a game changer record too, Beastie Boys too, because
I thought they were black.
It's just you did.
Yeah, before I didn't have any photos or anything at the time. I was so young, and I was like, oh yeah, and then
that's like people thinking the Bad Brains are white before they saw the Bad Brains play too.
Yeah,
that's a true story too.
Right, right.
So yeah, Beastie Boys because they encompass skateboarding, punk rock, and everything we loved all in one.
Exactly. For me, it was like, this is it, because obviously because I had rock influences and punk rock, and I was like, this is it.
Yeah.
Okay. And so basically I ran with that. I got to LA, and I was just that kid. I had a little rap book. I moved back to LA just in time to like turn 12 or 13.
Jeez.
And I was like, I'm gonna tear it up. I told my friends in Boston, I'm going to LA. It's over. So I was ready. I got to LA, and the crazy thing is, when we got to LA, we were still looking for a house, and there was this place called the Regency Suites. It was kind of like an Oakwood apartment where you get these furnished apartments. But this one was on Hollywood Boulevard in Fairfax.
Okay.
It's a long story. But anyway, I was there, and it was cool because when I was there was a lot of musicians who stayed in there as well. And my dad was working at his new job. And like some really cool stuff happened. Like Stevie Wonder was staying there.
Damn.
And he took me into his room and played the piano for me. Some like really cool memories. And there was like a couple rock bands that were teaching me how to like write lyrics. And then remember Divine from Hairspray died upstairs while I was staying there.
Oh, that's
and
in
I watched
place.
him take him out on this stretcher, and it was like, I was like, this is Hollywood for real. Like I was like, life is crazy. And then many years later, when I got my record deal, it had turned into apartments, and I moved back into the same one.
Yeah, my brother lived in the same apartments.
Yeah.
My brother Tracy lived there when you lived there. He used to see you with your dog, because I remember Divine had lived. That's right.
Yeah, so it was like a sentimental thing to me. Like when I got a little dough, I was like, I'm going to move there.
Yeah.
So I moved there. I got my apartment. And, but anyway, I used to skateboard from there, as far as I could go.
Yeah.
as a small child. And right on the corner of Fairfax and Sunset, there was the Arco, and there was a graffiti yard back there back in the day.
Okay.
And that's where I would go, and I was like, oh, this is dope. And I would sit there all day, and that's where I met Skate from CBS, and I met Risky from West Coast.
Yeah.
And I watched them, and I kind of like, I was like, this I got to do. So basically, that's how I got in CBS, and those guys all loved me, and I started writing my name on everything, and they were like, that's you? And I was just rolling around. I even got it's funny, I had a job. My mom's like, you got to get a job. So I like rolled down to, now it's Danku Chicken, but anyway, there was a Kentucky Fried Chicken there. Mm-hmm. And I had that place wired because I was like making out with this girl who worked there in the back room, and she'd give me free chicken littles. And then I had like... I had the graffiti yard right there, and then like my mom's like, get a job, and I remember I had a job like selling maps to the Stars homes because I was like, I'm gonna meet all these chicks who want to see Hollywood, so I was like, that's a good job for at 12. And then I ended up like getting in a car with these and lost the job very quickly because like these cute girls were like, come with us. So I just took off and threw my maps and
crazy, man.
But anyway, so that was like my beginning of moving.
But
to
you were
LA.
young hanging out though, for
super
sure.
young.
Super young hanging out in the streets.
I was young, and then then we moved from. We ended up getting a house in Boston. I mean, not in Boston, in Westwood.
Okay, Westwood, yeah.
So I moved to Westwood Village, like right by UCLA, and that's when it really begins, because I met all the, juvenile delinquents who hung out in Westwood and posers and Westwood locals and a lot of kids partying hard. And I was the graffiti kid, and I had like my office up at Carl's Jr. and
Carl's Jr.
And I would just chill
Post
up there.
up over there, yeah.
Post up there, and we'd steal spray paint from like all the spots, and all these girls would come up there and get dropped off. Young, beautiful girls would get dropped off by their parents to go to the movies. And I would, be the fucking bad kid on the corner that they'd end up dating. Yeah. And it worked out well for me. I had a whole little thing going on there. It was pretty cool.
You were like the bad boy on the other side of the tracks, like the girls.
Yeah, I'd be like, what up? Yeah. I saw that movie. What are you doing? Forget the movie. Come drink 40s with us. So.
Just hanging out from the movie theater.
Yeah. It was the spot. And we had the arcade, it was cool. It was good times.
Like mid-'80s, right?
Yeah, mid-'80s. And, but there was like older kids. There was kids like, there was like straight like, gangsters up in Westwood too, like macking on the college girls. Like we had a group of us that were like probably between the ages of like 30 and 12, and we're like all partying together,
30. That's crazy.
And it was our crew,
Yeah.
And like, like I remember I'd get like start shit with like older kids, and I just knew I had like 5 like villains behind me if it got too scary. So I'd like my mouth I'd run off to fools. And I'd always, I was pretty scrappy.
I was going to ask you, a scrappy kid.
I was a real scrappy kid, but at the same time, like I kind of knew like no one can touch me because these guys all have my back. So it was like, I wasn't really getting beat up ever.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Were your parents?
I mean, believe me, I got my ass whipped, but
were your parents worried about you being out there? Were your parents worried about you being out there running the streets?
My mom, like I had so much love, like such a great family. My mom, like a hippie, she's cool. Yeah. She was like, if you're going to party with your friends, do it at the house, Be
safe and shit, yeah.
Be safe. I just want you guys to be safe. Like she knew she couldn't stop us from doing what we were going to do. And so my house became like a haven for like parents, kids, like for the kids whose parents didn't understand, they moved in with me.
Yeah.
So like DJ AM lived with me.
Shit.
And like that was like one of my boys. I remember like I helped him. He escaped from rehab, and I like went and got him, and he came and lived with me for a while. And, like my mom was always like, they can stay here. Will I Am stayed with me for a while, but he wasn't a bad kid. He was a good kid.
I had him on the podcast. He gave you major props.
Oh really?
He gave you so much props on the podcast.
Yeah,
man,
I love
he
Will,
loves
man.
you.
That's my brother. And but just it was a melting pot.
Yeah.
And we were all. But I was always looking out for my friends and me, Scotty Kahn, Alchemist.
Scotty Kahn,
That was our crew. We had the Doobie Brothers, Chaz. Like
they were the Hooligans, right? That rap group they had back then too.
The Hooligans. I was the third member of the Hooligans.
Wow.
But that was
not
Scotty
really. Kahn's group with Alchemist back in the day.
Yeah. Basically, like they got their record deal.
Okay.
I had been rapping, but they just like nailed it. All of a sudden, that brought me in from being like the little street corner kid, graffiti kid, to learning the business side, because all of a sudden I went to hanging out with them. It was their group. I was just their best friend. Okay. So like I went on tour. It ended up like
you went to House of Pain too, or something back then.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, imagine being these little like LA street kids, and then your best friend gets signed to Tommy Boy. All we did is smoke weed all day and rap.
Huge at the time.
Massive, and all of a sudden he's recording his album with Lethal, Be Real, Muggs. And I'm in the studio every day just watching, soaking it up, learning, just going, this is it. This is what I want to do. I'm hanging out at Buzztone. I remember I went to Buzztone was like, we're signing this new band. They're playing across the street. Like it was right there on Robertson by the log cabin. And there was that, what is that bar? Like there was that club across the street from Buzztone. Buzztone was like 666 Robertson.
It's not Troubadour, none of that stuff over there, the area? No.
No, I mean, there was the Troubadour, but right on Robertson, like if you, across the street, like literally like 5 buildings up, there was like a nightclub. It was like long story short, they had like this basement. And I remember we went down there with like Happy Walters and like all the, Soul Assassins kids. And they were like, we're signing this new band. And it was Korn.
Oh, wow.
And so like I saw their like showcase.
Damn.
And I was like, these guys are badass. So then there was a side of me that was learning the whole hip hop thing. And I remember like I was kind of quiet. I was always watching, right? But I always worked my way. Like if you look at the first Hooligans video, I mean, I'm all over it. Oh, I'm all over it. Like I definitely worked my way into being their Flavor Flav.
Yeah.
I was there. Like I was.
It's your boys though. Yeah.
Yeah, those are my boys. So But I remember watching it, and then I started seeing Rage, and I started seeing it, and so I was like, I want to do something a little different. I want to incorporate a band, and kind of was sticking to my Beastie Boy roots. And I remember like being on the set of the Hooligans video and like smoking a joint, and B-Real was like, Seth, so what do you want to do? And I was like, I want to rap, bro. I'm gonna rap. But I never like was like out in the front saying what I wanted to do. He's like, that's dope, man. If you want to rap, you can do this. You can do that shit. So I was like, I had these guys that were my idols that were like kind of
your peers and shit. Yeah,
giving me the confidence to believe I could do it. But I remember the one time, it wasn't Madison Square Gardens. I always say, it's a huge auditorium in New York. It was massive, and I remember that it was Cypress, House of Pain, Rage Against the Machine.
I remember that tour. I saw that tour in New York, actually. I lived there then.
And we played, I wish I knew the play. Whatever, it was massive.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever
Roseland?
it was, it felt like
maybe
Madison
Roseland.
Square
Maybe
Garden.
Roseland.
Yeah, I think it was Roseland.
I saw that show. I was there.
Okay, I was at Roseland, and that was the first big show that the Hooligans got to play.
Yeah.
And I remember they came out on stage, and they were just getting their feet wet. And they came out on stage, but they were so far back on the stage that all the people in the front of the audience couldn't see them. And so I remember, I think it was Sendog came up to me and goes, Seth, get him to the front of the stage. Handed me a mic.
Oh,
I was like, oh, it's on. So I went and grabbed him and pulled him to the front of the stage. And then they looked at me and they're like, all right, whatever, Seth's got a mic. So I got to rock with him.
Wow.
And
New York.
to top it all off, me and Scotty had taken like a Lemon 714. So we were like, I was just like, it was like the most, it was emphasized. Like it was.
What's a Lemon 7? What is that?
It's a real Quaalude.
Okay.
I was like, I have no idea what that is.
It's like the real Lemon 7s. Like they were like half yellow and half white, and there was a bunch of fake ones.
Quaalude's old school.
Old school. So I had like 2 beers, but it was like I drank 24 beers, but I wasn't sick. Right. And I came out there with him, and I remember me and Scotty stage dived off the speakers.
Oh shit, Roseland.
And we lost. We got carried by the crowd. We lost our shoes, and then like I found him, like. I think I found him, and we were like, are you as fucked up as I am? And I was like, yes, this is fucking unbelievable. And it was kind of from that. But when I had the mic in my hand and I was in front of all those people, like I had been, believe me, I'd been at Ballistics and rapping, but it was kind of like, I can do this. I felt like this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. Yeah. Done deal. Like that was the moment when I was.
And it wasn't the Quaalude either. It was the energy of the crowd. It was everything.
It was a mixture of everything. It was a mixture of that moment. Just was like, this is my calling.
Yeah, well, you're on stage. That's amazing.
Yeah, just you get that energy from a massive crowd, and it was unbelievable. So then
But you had no groups at that time.
No, I had
Brimstone Sluggers.
I had 4 groups. This is a little pre. So yeah, I had like many little. I always was
trying,
But
just was it straight hip hop or like punk? Did you have different diverse styles of bands before that?
It was always rap punk.
Okay.
I
like that rap punk. Because you're like hip hop metal, you don't hear rap punk. That's different. Yeah.
Yeah, it was always hip hop, and then I was the hip hop kid with a mohawk and a skateboard. It was always had that edge to me, and so.
And this is before the whole rap metal shit popped off though too though.
It was like we were and then I was around Buzztone, and that's when one of my favorite records of all time. There was the Big Blunts album, which was a lot of like rock bands doing stuff with hip hop artists. Yeah. And then there was the Judgment Night record.
All right.
Fire, bro.
And the Judgment Night record, I was like, okay, this is it.
Yeah.
When I heard Onyx and Slam was out, and I heard Onyx and Biohazard and Helmet and all that shit.
It was definitely a big shift in music.
And it was like the next level to me from the Beastie Boys. It was like, it wasn't
harder.
It was a little heavier and harder, and I was like, okay, this is it. So.
Judgment Night was sick soundtrack.
And just around the same time, when I was younger, Will was. We went to Pali. I was in the canteen. He was in the good part, and so we would meet up and rap. And at that time, it was like it started being a reality. Like the idea of a record deal. Like I remember we went to school with Ahmad.
Okay.
And Ahmad had just put out Back in the Day, and it was blowing up. So like we saw our friends, we saw these kids getting record deals, and I was like, this is obtainable. Right. This is not like just a dream. Like other people, I'd be like, I'm going to be a rapper. They'd be like, dream on, Seth. And I was like, no, I can do this. Yeah. So around that time, I had just gotten my license. I didn't even have a car yet. I would take my mom. My mom had like this Saab. And I was listening to like NWA and her Saab and I was going to like all these like freestyle battles. And there was like Fat Cap on Melrose. It was like this little hood, like dope little store that was like Hex had painted. Yeah. Hex is such a great artist. So it was very like hip hop, LA. And then there used to be like some hip hop events over in the parking lot where they have the swap meet. So basically like I was kind of wired into the Hollywood kids as, and Will wasn't, but Will was at school and I was like, Will, Will was on another level. Like
this is before Black Eyed Peas?
Oh yeah, this is pre all that.
Okay, yeah.
But me and Bernard, my best friend who I started Crazy Town with, and he grew up like around Crenshaw. He was bussed in like Will. And me and Bernard was badass, but that's like I could go and talk about Bernard all day long. But and so what happened is we'd all rap. Me, Jesse Phelps, we'd all rap and like meet up by the bleachers and do our thing.
It's cool.
And Will just shined. So I was immediately an A&R guy. I was like, you're a fucking star. Damn. I always gravitated toward kids I could learn from. Like, like I'd be like, if you intimidate me, then you're my friend. Like, because I want to learn from you and we got to kick it. It wasn't like I'd hate on people. I was like, I went like
absorb it all.
Yeah, absorb it and like So Will would go home and he was living in downtown LA. And I would call him and I'd be like, yo, there's this new club, Ballistics. There's a freestyle competition. You're going to fucking win. And he'd be like, Seth, how am I going to get there, man? I'd be like, I'm taking my mom's car. I'm going to come get you. We're going to take you there. You're going to win. So I started taking Will there. And, I would enter. I was always doing my thing, but I don't think I didn't have the eye of the tiger yet. I still felt I was in training. Yeah. So I'd put Will up there and I was like, yo, check this kid out. And he'd win every night. Boom, boom, boom. And I kept bringing him there. And
you're like Homeboy in 8 Mile with Eminem as boy.
Yeah. It was the LA version, of that. So basically, Will started winning, but there was some real people there, and so Will got scouted by Eazy-E, got his first record deal, had the At Band Clan. I was also the 5th member of the At Band Clan. But so the At Band Clan got their deal with Ruthless. And so all of a sudden, Will's got a record deal. I remember he went and got a new car, and I was so happy for him. I was just like, man, this kid deserves this. So he got his record deal, and then he was busy recording at this loft downtown. And Will always remembers where he came from and the people. Like so I guess like as a paying it forward thing, he was up. And when they sent him in, who was one of the producers in the umbrella of Ruthless was Brett Mazer. Okay. And Brett Mazer ended up being my partner for Crazy Town. Brett Mazer had done Gotta Have a Roughneck. He had he did like 4 songs on the Belle Biv DeVoe album. Wow. He did MC Search. Anyway, so he was a young hip producer. Yeah. He had like been discovered, and he had an older partner that was like Wolf and Epic. Wolf was a big R&B producer. Okay. And then he had done Blood of Abraham. And he had done some Eazy tracks, whatever. So when Will got signed, they sent him in to create with Brett. Sick. So Brett and him started working on the At Band Clan album. And one night, Brett played him all these like more heavy beats that were a little bit more, rock. Mm-hmm. And he was like, "This is what I want to do." And he's like, "But I need a partner. I need a kid who's just the real deal." And Will was like, "I got your kid." And so Brett, so Will called me and he said, "Seth, I think I got something for you, bro." And so he had us meet up down in this loft in downtown. And I remember me and Bernard were a package. Yeah. And we already had the name Crazy Town because we had gotten jumped into West Side Crazies. It's a whole other story.
Oh, shit. Okay. That's what it comes from.
And that was like, so we were like, if Dogtown is Dogtown, we're from West LA, we're Crazy Town.
Wow. So I like that.
So then we went in there and met with Brett, and he played us all these, tracks. And I remember walking into his loft and walking down. He had this long hallway, and it was plaques. And I was like, I have finally arrived. This is the guy who can make my little rhyme book come to life.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I got in the studio, we all started recording. And Yomo Amelki was another artist on. And so what happened is we started like a camp called the Seventh House. And it was Alphabet. There was all different MCs down there. You know, Divine Styler was kicking it with
Divine
us.
Styler, that's everlasting.
You know, and it was just this creative place. You know, you have Will, you have DJ Motivate, who was kind of him and Will. Like Will learned a lot about production from
him,
Brett and Motivate, and that's where he, you know, he expanded from being a great MC to being a producer and
amazing
what he
producer,
is now.
Yeah,
amazing producer. But that's kind of where it all happened. You know, like. And so we were I was always a kid who was like partying.
Yeah.
So like Will would be in there digging through the crates making beats, and I'd come in and I'd be like, I am the vibe, you know. So I'd jump on the beats, you know, and like I was like, let's do this. But I was a little out of my mind, you know, like I was programmed. Am I rambling on?
No, that's great. No.
Like I was programmed by now that I'm older and wiser and I've learned like, you know, my mentality then was like that of a skateboarding little punk kid. Like, I grew up like everything bad and everything wild and crazy is what I lived for.
You loved
like
it. Yeah.
It was, you know, all the things that I looked
thrived
back,
on it.
I thrived on it.
Yeah.
You know, like going down to fucking the hood to get a bag of stress weed was like, let's go. You know what I'm saying? Like it was like I was fearless, I was wild, and I actually fit in. It was like I wasn't the kid who went down there and got jacked. Like I was the kid like I was good at it. Like I was.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I was programmed like it was MTV, MTV Raps. Like I was that little kid. Like you know, they're here, just like on MTV, and the things that were people destroying themselves. I just kind of like looked at it like this is part of it. Like it was like it didn't scare me. Like when I like Sid Vicious, you know, who I put on a pedestal as being this like belligerent badass punk, you know, fucking, you know, fuck everything kind of guy, you know, and I get older and I look at it and I'm like, you know, it's kind of sad. It's kind of like there's the other aspect to it. But when I was little, I would like, you know, watch fucking Guns N' Roses destroying hotel rooms and lighting cars on fire. And I was like, that's what I want.
Yeah, you love the chaos.
I want the chaos. Like I want to get a record deal and fucking burn shit.
Throw shit out the window.
Yeah, I want to fucking destroy shit. Like that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And also I mean I really, you know, the craft I really like.
Yeah.
So like it goes on, but like there was moments like where I started elevating like, and I was selling a lot of cocaine because I'd gotten into West Side Crazies and I was kind of like immersed in the Hollywood scene.
Yeah.
So like the older guys were kind of like, I was like, you know, I'm not gonna do drive-bys, but I'll sell a damn load of cocaine.
Yeah.
You know, and so they would drop off like for a young kid, they're dropping off like bricks at my house, being like, "Do your thing, bro."
Oh,
so I'm going out to clubs selling dope to everybody, and I remember there's Proper Grounds who are my boys.
I remember
right?
Proper Grounds.
Yeah, Proper Grounds. I went on tour with
great
them
group.
too. Yeah, great stories. Me and AM would always follow them on tour and stuff. Those are my boys, and so I'm out in the clubs. Me and Scotty and. You know, we're climbing in the windows and getting snuck into clubs. We're like 17, 18 in all the 21 and over clubs. I remember when I was 18, I threw my own 21 and over club at Martini Lounge. I was like, I'm not old enough. He's like, who cares?
Wow.
And it was packed.
Some young Hollywood, yeah, for sure.
So like, I'm kind of like, and me and Bernard, you know, we're those guys who go in and record one song and we got our band and then we party for like 6 months, you know, and we're like playing it for everybody. And everyone's like, this shit's dope. And we're like, if we could take enough time to make 5, then we're in there.
Yeah, make a whole album and shit.
Right. So it was kind of like that. And basically.
So you're like everywhere, graffiti in the clubs, selling, working on music.
That's where I got the name Shifty. I was always like handing shit off. And my boy Country from Proper Grounds, Jimmy, he was like, what are you doing, Shifty? And all of them started going Shifty. And I was like, that name works.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm Shifty. So I
but Onyx had that song Shifty too.
Shifty, and that was my anthem, obviously.
Wow. Fuck.
Yeah. So, fuck. Was there ever So up that point, there was like nobody that was like laying down the law to you, like a person that was giving you discipline.
You're just your own man out there in the streets.
Or was there ever a person like that existed? You're like,
as weird as it sounds, is I had like my older homies.
Yeah, like father figures.
Father figures, like Eclipse.
Yeah.
From Seventh Letter, like he always looked out for me. And they always tripped on me because I was wild, but I was a little too wild for my own good, And then like the guys from Proper Grounds would like be like, "Yo, slow down,"
right?
So.
'Cause you're super young too, man. Fuck.
Super young, and but I was like always killing it. And whatever I did, like I was doing like having fun, but I didn't like feel like I was doing something wrong. Like everyone's on drugs anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
But what happened is, you have a lot of drugs and then you start doing a lot of drugs and all of a sudden I'd be coming up short and I'd have to like jack this fool to make sure I paid back my boys. And so like then I'm listening to like way too much like Biggie Smalls and fucking.
Never get high on your own supply?
Right. But that was me. So because I'd go home, I was partying with all these like girls and shit and I'm just.
Are you living at home too at this time too at this moment?
Yeah. The upstairs. Wow. I had like the X-rated Greg Brady room.
Okay. Upstairs at your parents' crib. Wow. Okay.
At my mom's house.
Damn.
And but you got to remember, like as much as crazy we were, like I had my little sisters and like we all smoked weed. It was a very stoner loving atmosphere. It wasn't like just dark.
Yeah. Did they know what you were doing? Your sisters? They knew you were up to?
They would. Yes. They would know as they got older. But like we would all like I was selling weed since I was real young.
Yeah.
And then the coke was just like a secret or thing that I did. And
on the side, kind of, and that became more,
And then, like around 18, my mom was like, "You got to get the fuck out of here."
Wow. So she got to a point where
she was like,
enough.
"Yeah, you're not doing this shit in the house."
Fuck.
That was after, and I got arrested.
I was gonna ask you, get arrested a bunch growing up?
A lot, but then I got arrested. This is like a twist. So Brett and I are working on Crazy Town stuff.
Yeah.
And Bernard and I, there was some kid who was talking shit to like other girls and he was like a rich kid who was basically like giving away weed to all these customers of mine to be cool. And I was like, this fool's
fucking with your program, bro.
Fucking with my shit. So I was like, we got to rob him.
Damn.
So then like, it wasn't like I was going to kill him. It was just like a territorial, like, don't fuck with me thing. So I robbed him a couple times and took all his weed.
Yeah.
I was like, don't fuck with me. And then
stay in your lane.
And then one day, I just was stupid. I was like, if he's there, let's go. So my boy came by and was like, I'm going to rob these other kids. Damn. And it all went bad. So all of a sudden we went and robbed these kids. I'm on the freeway getting chased by like 6 cop cars.
Oh my God, dude.
And I knew my way around Westwood, dude. We got on the 405 and we lost all the cops. We were gone.
Holy shit.
So now they're really mad.
Yeah, of course.
And then the people that the robbery happened with, like Bernard, like it got brutal. Like my boys did some things we didn't need to do. I was more about intimidation factor, but some people got smacked with guns, and it was it turned into a little thing turned into a big thing.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, we're on the run. So the cops are looking for us. My dad that sends me to Sebastopol to build a pool with my uncle. Bernard like goes somewhere. Dang. The other kid we were with, Shorty, goes up to San Francisco. And it turns out the kids that we robbed, because they were some wealthy kids, the dad was friends with the mayor. Oh. And so the kids told him, these guys just came in to rob our house. And so it turned into a home invasion because it was really about weed. These kids were moving pounds. But they didn't mention that to their dad.
No, hell no.
And the dad's like, so people came into our house and hit my kid with a gun and blah, blah, blah. And like all of a sudden we're on LA's Most Wanted.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
And we're on the news, armed and dangerous. And it went from like, it turned very real.
How old were you then?
I'm like 18, 19.
Damn, that's an adult, legal adult, yeah.
Yeah, probably 19. And so.
Fuck.
So we're like, everyone's like, get the fuck out of here. And so like we run and long story short, we book our first show at opening it up for fucking Maxi Priest at the House of Blues.
Maxi Priest?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
And I was like,
that's your first show?
Well, it was our first Crazy Town show.
Yeah, that's legit.
And so me and Bernard are like, should we go back even though we're wanted and rock this show? And we had Giant Records coming to see us.
I remember Giant Records.
Giant,
Dave, Big Dave wanted to sign us.
Wow.
So we were like, we got to get back. So we come back into town just to rock this one show. We're like,
oh my God,
out of our minds.
dude.
And we killed it. We killed it. Everyone was there. Like Giant Records wanted to sign us. Like whatever. It was like a
Holy
big deal
shit.
for us, right? And then we go to party at my house afterwards. And I remember we went to 7-Eleven to meet my boy to get like an 8-ball. And like we have all these girls and my mom's at like we're like celebrating.
Mom's crib.
Yeah, we're celebrating and shit. And we go to 7-Eleven and we're in 7-Eleven and like fucking whatever. A whole gang of police cars roll into the parking lot, and I look at Bernard, and I was like, "We're fucked."
Holy shit!
And they fucking draw their guns,
Sure.
and we walk out, and they're like, "Do you have anything on you?" I was like, "I got an 8-ball in this pocket."
Holy
And
shit!
And we went to jail for 9 felonies. 9 felonies. So we're facing 15 years.
Holy fuck!
And somehow, the universe, basically.
How long are you locked up
No
for?
one got hurt that bad.
Yeah.
It was just more of a. We both got bailed out.
Okay,
Within
yeah.
like
But it was your first offense that
was
you got caught. Yeah.
It was the first felony.
Yeah,
I had all kinds of graffiti
Right.
little things, but like
Yeah.
shoplifting, nothing of
This
that.
is legit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what happened is the third one of us, this kid Shorty, turned out that his aunt worked with like one of the fucking OJ's lawyers.
Oh shit!
And she was like, I'm not letting him go to jail and lose his life. So she stepped in
Okay.
and basically
Damn.
saved our asses. And she went and got affidavits from every fucking little rich girl in Beverly Hills who had bought weed at that house.
Oh shit!
And she went and proved that these guys were selling drugs and this was an argument over drugs.
Wow.
And then basically went to the parents and said, and the dad was like big in the community and whatever.
Yeah.
And she was like, I'm going to put this in every paper. And,
Yeah.
and by that time, the mayor or whatever had helped in catching us. And he didn't want to be the guy who had helped a drug dealer.
Yeah.
So basically, they sat us down in a room. We plead that shit down to 1 felony.
Wow.
And I had to take a pistol whipping charge. And Bernard took a robbery charge, but it wasn't
Yeah.
our whole lives.
Right.
So basically,
Probation, all that stuff.
Bernard had some priors. He got 2 years.
Oh wow.
And I got a 90-day observation at Chino State Prison with a 5-year lid.
Holy
Which is a whole other long story because I went and did my 90-day observation. I was like, I'm just going to mind my own business.
Right.
But then I get there and everyone's like, homie, nobody gets out on a 90-day observation. Like you're
trying to check you
you're
and
doing
stuff
at
and-
least 2 years. So I'm in there going, fuck.
Oh.
And the worst part is I fit in there too. I'm like lifting weights,
Well,
kicking
yeah.
it, and like, and I was
And you were like 18 or 19 in there?
yeah, I was like, by this time, by the
That's
courts, I
Chino?
was like pushing 20, whatever it is. I'm in Chino. And the crazy part is they put me in like most ruthless part. They put me in the gym where you're mixed with everybody. It's in processing.
Yeah.
But since I got a job when I was in the gym, because I was trying to do the right thing, they like lost my paperwork or they hit, the guy liked me there. And they kept me in processing because I was processing everyone who came in.
Wow.
And so I almost spent my whole 90 days there. So I was supposed to be on the West Yard. But I wasn't on the West Yard. And that's where they observe you. So I'm
Okay.
like trying to be good and no one's even watching me. So then finally they're like, yo, buddy, you're supposed to be on a different yard. We fucked up. And by the time they transfer me over there, I sit down with one therapist and she just hates me. And I'm trying to like say all the right shit. And I was like, this is not good.
Damn.
And anyway, there was a God shot and whatever. Long story short is, I talk about it in my documentary, but I got out.
Yeah.
I got out on this 90-day observation. But that was a whole new set of problems because you take a kid who's partying and doesn't know how to stay sober
Right.
and all these things, and you stick them out with a 5-year joint suspension with drug testing, mandatory drug testing. I had to call this number every night, and they're like, tonight, drug test, tomorrow morning. And so, like, I did good for like 3-4 months.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, and back then weed was a violation.
Right.
So we're talking about like, and basically I realized like, there's no way I'm going to do this in my lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily I had another friend who was on a 90-day or had a joint suspension. She messed up once, and she got sent for 2 years.
Damn.
And me, I messed up.
5 years you would go?
I was looking at 5 years.
Damn.
And I went in there, and so I was, I called the number, and it was the one night I thought, I just tested. They're not going to do it again for a minute.
Oh,
and I call, and they did it twice in a row. And I'm like sitting there doing blow going, I'm fucked.
Holy shit.
And so I remember I'd been up all night, and I was like, I'm not going to run. And I went in there, and I was like, help. And I wrote help on the page, and I said, I'm trying so hard to do the right thing.
Man.
And I wrote this whole thing. And I gave him a dirty test, and the guy called me in, and he goes, you know what? I should be violating you right now, but since you told me the truth, he goes, no one has ever done that. He's like, I've worked here for ever, and he goes, if a kid's dirty, they run. Mm-hmm. And he goes, and you did exactly what you're supposed to do, is be honest. Mm-hmm. And he goes, so I'm going to give you 20 days to get into rehab.
Wow.
And so I ended up going to Acton County Rehab, where I'm an alumni, and I was the chairman of Cocaine Anonymous.
Wow.
And I learned about sobriety.
Yeah.
So basically when I did that, Brett had gotten in trouble, and I went up to, and it was it was so good for me to go up there, because there was this prayer circle that I got pulled into, and I'd never really been too religious, and I got pulled into this prayer circle, and there was something about the camaraderie. Mm-hmm. These guys who had all, there was people, it was a county rehab. So there's guys in there that are facing, if they fuck up, they're going back to jail for 10 or 5. Or, all these guys are fighting for their life, and they have children, and they're drug addicts who, And so, I heard these guys, speaking with such humility in this prayer circle, and it was beautiful. And I remember every morning there was this guy, Virgil, who ended up doing some major time after that. Because he's, it's hard to break that lifestyle. Yeah. But, so I started, and I would get woken up every morning. He'd be like, it's time to pray, bro. And I'd be like, fuck it, I'm getting up. And there was this this magic under the stars. And you got people from all different walks of life, but there was just a bunch of thugs who would put their arms around each other and say prayers for their family and whatever. And I was like, I'm feeling this. Yeah. So it opened my mind into growing a little bit. Not that I grew enough to not cause trouble for the next decade or two, but but I did find myself a little in there. And I remember laying on the star, the stars are so beautiful out there, and I'd lay on my back. Anyway, by the end of the rehab, I had kind of blossomed there, and I was the chairman of Cocaine Anonymous, and I tattooed it on myself. Oh shit. So it's so I was still bad. I'm in the fucking room doing fucking tattoos with guitar strings and but anyway, so I was in this prayer circle. The point I'm making is by the end of the rehab, I was the leader of the prayer circle. Everyone else had graduated, and I'd go around and wake up people and be like, time to pray. And it was it wasn't, it just gave me just simple responsibility. It was just so cool to get pulled out of this club scene where I was in so much chaos to have this other way to look at things. And when I was in there, I remember talking to God and talking to the universe or whatever it may be, I'm very open-minded to spiritual stuff. Yeah. But I was talking to the stars, and I was I kind of gave up everything to do this music shit. It doesn't look like it's really working out, man. I was like, fucking help me, man. Yeah. Help me, man. Help me pull it together. I know I'm good at this. I've studied it my whole life. This is what I want to do. Help me. Talking, just talking. Yeah. And I got out of there, and Brett had gotten in trouble as well. Epic. He had gotten pulled over with our boy with a bunch of dope in the car. And damn. I was like, we're going to get sober, and we're going to finish a demo, and we're going to fucking get a record deal. Wow. And he's Brett's let's fucking do it. Wow. So I got out, and we were high on, Brett did more meth. I did more coke, whatever. Meth was a little too fast for me. And so we had met this guy while we were partying with this girl. Susie Sterling, she was a wild girl, kind of Hollywood girl. Yeah. Anyway, we had met this guy who was a record exec who had heard our 2 songs. And he was
what were the 2 songs?
Yeah.
There was a song called My Philosophy that me and Brett had done. Brett was the producer of the first Black Eyed Peas album, but we had gotten kind of dark in our partying together and finding ourselves through drugs. And so we had played these songs to this guy. It turned out he was the guy that was the head of
A&R.
A&R. Oh my God, Trauma Interscope.
Okay, Interscope. Okay.
And Danny Ostro.
Okay.
Danny Ostro saw us and was like, "These two kids got something going on here." I mean, it was like we had a couple. They were not just like songs. Like Brett's a fucking platinum producer. Like they were some dope shit. So we played him these couple songs. And so when we got together and said, "Let's just make this fucking record and like stay on our shit," he goes, "I'll finance it." Damn. So he got us a little fucking office across from the Rainbow next to Shamrock Social Club.
Nice.
And we stuck Brett's studio in there.
Wow.
And every day we recorded and made a different song a day, which ended up being our first record. Wow. So we started recording, and I remember we got to like 9 songs, and we kept sending it to all the labels, and everyone was like, "It's really good, you know, we like it. We'll keep watching."
But we need more. Yeah.
They're like, "It's really good. We'll keep watching.
But we need more songs.
We need more." And I started questioning my dopeness. I was like, "Bro, maybe we're just fucking loaded. Like maybe we aren't as dope as we think we are now. You know, like like why the fuck?" You know, now I know just like half the labels don't know shit. But
it's true.
Then I was just young and just like, I mean.
And you were writing the lyrics and everything?
Yeah. That was my, and actually a lot of the lyrics I wrote while I was in Chino.
Okay.
Wow.
So I had this rhyme book that we used a lot of the lyrics, and there's funny stories about how I got the lyrics. Like there was this old guy, his name, they called him Doc Holloway. And he was this 80-year-old guy who was in there for pulling a gun because some guy looked at his wife the wrong way.
Oh, wow.
And he would like lean over and be like, he taught me a lot. Anyway, he was my bunkie. He taught me a lot. So anyway.
Was Crazy Town playing shows at that time too, you guys? When you got back out, you guys playing shows before the first album dropped? Like building a name for yourself and all that?
Mean, we had a name for ourselves, but it wasn't really for music.
Okay. Gotcha.
Like we'd roll in the club, they'd be like,
shit.
"There's Crazy Town." Yeah. You know, we'd do 1 or 2 shows and we'd beat up the sound guy because it sounded wrong. It was like never went really well. So, but we weren't like, you know, I remember like I was selling drugs to a lot of like big musicians, and I know exactly how they felt. Like I have a lot of like, there's always the drug dealers like, "I got a band too," and you're like, "Whatever, bro, just give me my shit." You know. Good, man. I wish you luck.
Yeah.
So I'm like selling dope to like all these, you know, Jamiroquai and fucking Guns N' Roses. I'm fucking dropping off dope to all these badass motherfuckers. Not to put you on blast, but whatever. We all have done drugs. And so anyway, like, and I'm telling him, like, I remember like even like Mark McGrath. I'm like, "I got a band." And he's like, "Good, Seth. Good, Seth." So then I'll Shrinky Dinks. Who I did there's a show we did with Sublime, Shrinky Dinks, Black Eyed Peas, and Crazy Town back in the day for Pat Tenori of Ruka. Wow. So it was like, there's some old school shit. Like we were doing shows, but it wasn't like, it wasn't consistent, but also we're hip hop artists, so it's a little different. Yeah. Like it wasn't like we were a band yet.
Yeah.
But we wanted to start the band. So anyway, these stories go on and on, but basically what happened is Danny made this thing, and I had just been going through like some real shit. I was in fucking 90-day observation. I'm tortured by like the fact that am I going to go to jail for this 3 to 5 years? Right. And I'm recording this thing. I had just gotten a little bit of peace from going to rehab, and I meet this girl.
Oh.
And
it's always the girl.
I move in with her. She's a little younger than with me. I move into her mom's back house. And I'm playing her the songs. And I remember we wrote this song called Revolving Door that I'd written while I was in rehab. And she was like, "Yeah, it's great, Seth, but can't you like write a nice song about girls?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I can." I was like, I grew up on LL Cool J. I could do that.
She's the lady we were talking about. Who's the lady that gets songs for? Yeah.
And so
all right.
she would always go off. She was working as a model. And I was kind of like a broke, like bad boy that she was like taking care of. And so like my thing was I would always like get her little like butterflies. That was like, I couldn't buy her the things I wanted to. So like it was my thing. Like I would always get her butterflies. Like I would go to Chinatown, get her a butterfly kite. So I remember I wrote the lyrics and I was laying on the bed and I was like, what am I going to call this song? And I like just looked around and there was butterflies everywhere. I was like,
damn.
And so I went up to Brett. I was like, "We're doing a song about my girl." And he's like, "Fucking great."
He's like, really? Really?
He's like, and I was like, "It's got to be." And like, we're hip hop kids. So like, you know, like it's weird because when we're hip hop kids who wanted to make rock music. Yeah. So like doing a sample for us was like, everybody samples.
Yeah.
Right.
We were hip hop kids.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Chili
like,
pepper sample.
right. So when I told Brett, I said, bro, the vibe has got to be like Under the Bridge. And by that time, we had just like kind of broken our full Alcoholics Anonymous standards, and like Brett had started smoking a little weed.
Yeah.
And so Brett's like rolled a joint, and he took Mother's Milk, and he went downstairs to the car to smoke a joint, and he said, I'm going to go figure this out.
Damn.
And Brett went downstairs, and he listened to Mother's Milk, and Pretty Little Ditty came on. Pretty Little Ditty came on.
Yeah.
And he came back upstairs. He's like, I got it.
Wow.
And he found that loop. And right there, threw it in the SP1200. And I had, the first verse, and we wrote the second verse. And we just, literally, that song came together in one evening,
Do you have to get clearance for that, too, from Chili Peppers? Back then?
That story's beautiful, too, because then we had that song.
Okay.
And it ended up on, our demo ended up, because we're friends with Orgy and everybody, like, I guess, Korn heard it.
Okay.
And Korn had our demo, and then we found out Korn's listening to your demo before they go on stage. And I was like, what? And then there was the Supermodels, which is like Ashley Hamilton and Jay Gordon and Scott Weiland. And we were recording, and they called us down to the studio, and we played Scott Weiland, Butterfly. And he goes, this is fucking brilliant. So overnight, we made these 9 songs, and this one song about my girl started like getting it. And Scott called and said, I want to sign you, took us out to dinner and said, I want to sign you to my new imprint on Flip. And then Korn called us and said, we want to sign you to Elementary.
Wow.
And then it hit Hit Magazine. And it said, new band buzzing. These two bands feud over it.
One fucking song.
One song changed everything. And then all of a sudden, the big boys came in.
Okay.
And we're getting called into DreamWorks, and we're sitting with Geffen. And then, like Donnie Einer calls and says, don't you sign a fucking paper till you fly to New York and meet with me.
This is it,
and then we go to clear the sample, and we sent the song to Q Prime, and they played it for the Peppers, and we get a call back, and he goes, Cliff and Peter say, not only have the Peppers never cleared a sample, because everybody who wants to sample the Peppers takes one of their hits and wants to take like something that was a hit, and this is the first song that not only do they love the song, but they agree that this is how sampling should be used. You didn't pirate like one of their hits, but you did it creatively, and you took an interlude and you made it into something special.
Awesome,
and
man.
they respect that. They think you did a sample in an artistic manner.
Right.
It's fucking
So
awesome.
then not only are they going to clear it, and not only are they only going to take a third, but they want to take you on tour, and we want to manage you.
What?
And
That's
so
like
we
the
got
ultimate.
and so
That's
we got
beautiful,
picked up
man.
by Q Prime. The Peppers took us all through Australia. We did Big Day Out.
Flipping.
We really lost our mind.
So at that moment, like when you're like, this is all going on, had you started like using, or were you like mildly?
No,
using,
I was
were you
trying
clear?
with all my heart and soul to
Right.
be sober. Because I was like, this is it. Pull it together, Seth.
Yeah, yeah.
I knew it was a special moment.
Right.
Yeah.
But then we're getting offered all these record deals, and then like we had to use. There's personal relationships and there's business.
Yeah.
So Brett's dad, who had done more of, Brett had been in the game for a while, sat us down and said, you guys can sign to an imprint that's through the label that's offering you a massive deal, or you can go direct to the label. And we're like, but it's Korn, it's Scott.
Yeah.
Right.
And he's like, man, Donnie Einer wants to give you as big of a deal as Korn has.
Right.
Like, and so we went and we sat down with Scott and them, and we said, we respect you, we love you, and we're gonna pass, not because we don't love you guys, but because we've waited our whole life for this, and we have to take the best deal. And they were like, we understand. Wow. So then we were between DreamWorks and Columbia.
Great place.
And and they had just signed Buck Cherry, and like they took us in there, and Brett's dad sat down and said, DreamWorks, although they have more money, they were kind of saying, we'll give you whatever you want, which is like fucking finding like a lantern on the beach. And like well, what is your wish? Because they were ready to spend big dough at those times. They were just basically buying.
Yeah.
They wanted all the hottest new acts of that time. So it was like they had movie money.
Yeah.
Then you have Donnie Einer, who's like, I'm not going to give you what they are going to give you. So I'll just tell you that now.
Straight up. Yeah.
He goes, but I will promise you one thing. I've been doing it. This company has been around forever. They're not proven. We don't know if they're going to go under, if they're going to be able to pull this off. And I promise you, I'll make you guys stars.
Damn.
And we went back, and I was like, everything, big, huge. I was going to ask for, like, I want health insurance forever.
Yes.
I was and they probably would have done it.
They probably
fuck, I should have.
That's amazing.
It's making you thought about it back then, bro.
Thinking like, yo, I will ask for that if that.
I was thinking like
after we all that
great
shit.
Yeah.
Damn.
Forever. So we did the more safe thing, and we signed to Columbia Records, which was an honor and amazing. But then, lots of shit happened. When you sign to a major label, basically we were left with a label who's used to making these pop fucking monsters.
Yeah.
Right.
And we were so like not used to this. Like, I feel like we made a lot of bad decisions and we learned a lot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we also got extremely lucky.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, we went in there, we said, this is the only song like this on our record. If we sign to you for less money, we want to be able to put 2 heavier singles out first.
Yeah. Oh, first.
So that's why we put out Toxic and Dark Side first. They, the other labels wanted to go directly to Butterfly.
Yeah.
Right.
We were like, well, the rest of our record isn't like that. We went into Ozfest for 2 years.
It's cool you covered Alcoholics on there too, Only When I'm Drunk.
Yeah. We got to do the
Awesome.
Loud record with the Alcoholics and tour with the Alcoholics.
Yeah.
I mean, we toured with Run DMC. We did amazing things. Like it was a dream come true.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I went on the road and I had to pick, am I going to keep this relationship? Because she relapsed while I was on the road.
Oh, wow.
And all this stuff happened where I was like, why can't I have the girl and the deal and the dream come true? And it's just not like that.
Yeah.
And things fuck up. And so I ended up getting heartbroken. My band was partying and whispering in the other room, like, Seth's sober. Don't do blow in front of him. And it's just like I'm reading my big book, like sticking my nails into it, like fucking, like just like I was like a demon reading my little book in my bunk. And then my girl like ended up doing some stuff that broke my heart. And I was like, okay, you want to see what happens if I party?
Fuck.
And just fucking relapsed. And we ended up getting kicked off of Ozfest. I mean, you got to go hard.
Oh, really?
I got arrested in North Carolina throwing a fucking chair through the window.
Damn.
Classic shit. Fucked up. It's like back in the day, you'd get, like fucking praise for doing that shit.
Yeah.
But by the time I did it, people were like, he's got a problem.
Right.
Yeah.
Like times change.
And was
people weren't
the
ready?
Single like just booming
Smashing
at that
right
point?
then?
Like,
No, this is before we
Before
dropped
that.
Butterfly.
yeah, that's right. It hadn't. Okay.
So then I'm smoking crack on the bus with like a bunch of fans, and the band is like, Seth has lost his mind. Plus they had like, I got a huge prescription for Xanax, so I'm like on so many Xanaxes I've become like I don't even know what I'm doing.
Right.
And I like lit the bus on fire because I fell asleep, and the torch like lit the back lounge on fire. And DJ AM, who's our DJ, has got 8 years sober. He comes down, he goes, Seth, I fucking love you, but I'm fucking bailing.
Yeah.
He goes, I can't deal with it. And we have James Bradley Jr., who is in our band, who had, played on Check Your Head and Mary's Danish and all that. And he had 20 years sober. And he's like, Shifty, pull it together, baby. Pull it, and I'm like, basically, like, I was fucked up before I got the record deal.
Yeah.
And now, like, I have this fucking shit. And then basically the band breaks up. Basically. They all leave Ozfest.
Before the shit even comes.
And I'm like, I'm not leaving Ozfest. And I'm like rolling with fans. Like Sharon would catch me backstage eating and be like, you are a crazy boy. You remind me of someone I know. She was, and Sharon was really cool to me, but I was like, I'm finishing this tour. Fuck this. My band's going home. I ain't fucking shit. I ain't no quitter.
And it's just you out there.
Just me with a fucking backstage pass and an attitude and a bag of blow. But,
Holy fuck.
And
so then
So then I go home and fucking I get a call from Donnie Einer and he goes, you fucking idiot. He goes, I signed this band for this song Butterfly and now you're going to tell me that I can't put it out? Fuck that.
Right.
He goes, I'm going to put this song out. He goes, He goes, let me make you a deal. He goes, Seth, can you pull it together? He goes, I'm going to give you 90 days. And if you really want me to push the button, I'm going to push the button. He goes, but you got to promise me you'll pull it together. And I was like, I promise.
Damn.
And I went to the fucking coffee house on Sunset every day. And I fucking did my steps. And I went there every day. Damn. And I went to the gym. And that's why I look like a Biff in the fucking butterfly video. But I,
jacked.
Yeah, like I just fucking worked out and stopped my crazy head. And I went to AA meetings every day. And he goes, you're going to do a showcase for all the people at Columbia at the Whiskey. And that's why that place is very sentimental to me.
Yeah.
And he goes, and I'm going to decide if you're ready to put out this song. And I rocked it. And he called and he said, let's go.
So the band got back, like all the people that were in it, or did
everybody was back as soon as I put it together.
Okay,
it was kind of like they were like, if you don't die right now, you know. So once they realized that I didn't die, they were like, okay.
And the showcase
no one wanted to throw it away.
Amazing.
Showcase, we killed it. And then he gives us a ridiculous budget to go make the video. And I'm newly sober, and I just like watched What Dreams May Come. And I called my management, and I was like, here's the idea. I want to be in that painting. And I was like, because people look at us like we're such monsters with all our tattoos, and if you put us in that painting, we're going to be beautiful. So my vibe was like cool and like earthy. But then my manager calls me, and he goes, check this out, bro. Not only I went and looked for a special effects team, he goes, I got the motherfuckers who did the movie.
Oh, wow. Holy
so we got the exact people that had made the special effects for that painting.
Damn.
And we went in, I told him my vibe, and like I was the guy who like didn't let them come up with the treatment.
Right. But
I was like, this is my vibe. Like,
right.
And so we did it, and there's things, it worked. People all around the world loved the video, and at the same time, there was a cheesiness to it that made me cringe.
Right.
But it worked.
Right.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
So, like, that's one of those things. It's like you have a vision. My vision was a little bit more like it's a Sublime video. But it had this gloss on it that, like, I didn't expect, but it was still beautiful. So, basically, like, there's some things, like, I know why motherfuckers were like, I hate this guy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of guys were like, didn't know the backstory. Like, if they had known my backstory, they would have been like, this motherfucker deserves this.
Yeah.
You know? This motherfucker fucking fought for this, like, you know, tooth and nail. But they just saw this, like, thing, and it had a little bit of, like, a fucking cheese thing on the back end of something amazing.
Yeah.
That some fools were just not having. So, but everyone else loved it. Fuck those fools. So... anyway,
I was definitely one of those fools, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I was like,
you hating, bro?
No, I mean, it's just like the video itself. I was just like, I didn't get it, but the way that you explain it now, it makes perfect sense.
It does make sense, yeah.
The song itself was like already in my head. I didn't have to buy it or anything.
100%.
Right. It was just like, boom. So I was like, damn, you know, musically, I wasn't hating on that. I was just
and the song was cool. The song's still cool.
The song is
but that video had a little bit too much of a gloss where fools were like, I don't know about these fools.
Yeah.
Right?
But
right?
now it's great.
But if we had made the video for $2,000, it would have everyone would have loved it.
Yeah.
Because we were doing Butterfly on Ozfest before it came out, and all the hard kids were at the front singing the lyrics.
Wow.
But then the video came out. But then, you know, every motherfucker who didn't listen, this is what was cool about it. Is every person who didn't like tattoos fell in love with tattoos.
Right.
Yeah.
Every commercial person, it actually did a lot to blow up that genre of music.
Culture,
it really crossed over to people that would never have liked, you know?
Yeah.
And so, but at that time, people weren't ready for it. See, now, like Machine Gun Kelly or Post Malone crosses over, and everyone's like, whatever. It's okay.
No, you're
Back then, they were like, I don't know what to think about this. This metal band. This metal band. So I'm kind of like the first motherfucker, like... You know,
great point, man.
That crossed over in that way, but the world wasn't ready for it yet.
Right.
Because it's singing.
I mean, the world was ready for it, but the music community wasn't ready for it.
Right.
Like as much as like the hard heads who really matter. You know, like the motherfuckers that I was really had a hard time digesting it. But also it was so massive and catchy and whatever. A lot of fools were like, whatever, get yours. But, you know, after a while, you know, there was people that were down for it.
But it really fit the time. You know, like that time period, when I hear it, I'm like, it brings you back. Like, I remember what I was doing.
2001,
kind
right?
of, like at that time period, like it really captured the moment of that time period.
Yeah, for sure.
At least for our generation.
And I found in life, like they're like perfectly unperfect type, like fucking life, like we hit the lottery with that song. And like, and then following it up was a fucking nightmare.
This was my next question.
The pressure of that, yeah.
But I think we self-destructed.
Right.
What happened was I was
so
like,
fast.
it blew up.
And all of a sudden, like overnight?
And all of a sudden we went from Ozfest, and then we have the whole Ozfest crowd, and like we're homies with everybody on Ozfest. And so I got like Black Label Society and the guys from Slipknot coming out on stage because all of a sudden all the girls are screaming. And the guys are like, boo.
Haters.
Right?
Always haters.
I mean, there was guys who were down, but I just looked at the guys who I was like, this is fucked up. Right? And so then we went from that, and we're number one on TRL. And we go in all fucking loaded on blow and take off our shirts and have the girls pulling up their tops on TRL. And like that TRL footage is fucking priceless. Like excuse me, that's.
I remember you were always shirtless. But mad people got those stars too.
Yeah, it was a time. So anyway, it was like be careful what you wish for. The shit blew up, I was super happy. I got my plaque that when I was little, I was like, one day I'm going to have one of those, It was a magical moment. And then it just kept getting bigger and bigger. And I was like, stop.
Wow.
And it got to a point where I was like, you're going to make us into everything I cringe at. And I had no power. I'd signed that dotted line. I had made the video. They had put the shit. And so by that time, I was like, this is fucked up. Everyone doesn't understand who we really are. And you fucking tainted our identity. And fuck this. I'm going to crawl into a cave and overdose. Wow. So I was kind of fucking hurt.
Yeah. Did it happen fast as far as finance too? All that changed really fast for you too? With the record sales and all that, just
absolutely, bro. It was fucking insane, dude.
Fuck, man.
Like I'm a kid who like sold dub sacks, and all of a sudden, like I'm getting fucking $25K a night to play a show.
And nobody ever tell you how to like manage money or to do it.
No, I told it's fucked up. Like I got robbed. I got this, whatever. I had these money managers who I basically just fucking like bullied, like they were like, like I
give me
bullied
my
them.
money. Yeah,
I was like, I want to hire Max on my ATM card. Because I'm doing more dope than that a day, and I need someone at midnight to make sure it refills, like
midnight, damn.
And so like at the end of like my chaos, when I had a moment of, sanity, I said, "Where the fuck is all my money?" And they sent me this fucking. I wish I still had them. They sent me this fucking pile of fucking receipts, and if you look at the times. I would be waiting with like a bunch of kids like ready to keep partying by the ATM, and at 12:01 every night I'd take out $3,000, and at 12:01 I'd take out the whole other $3,000. So it was like they were like, dude, you're a monster. This is where your money went. And fucking
it must be hard to even look
But
at.
then I go over it and I realized no, there was some people taking money too because I was spending like there was a lady who did a bunch of shit, but then I signed papers when I switched accountants. Like they always watch your back. Accountants can rob you. They're like, this kid's fucking gonna die any second. Let's keep some of this, But anyway.
Jesus Christ. Did you own a crib? Did you buy a crib with it or something?
No, but I remodeled a couple cribs that I was renting.
Okay. Meaning destroyed.
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
Turn this one crib into a
so you were buying
into
like cars,
a castle.
You were buying watches and cars and getting crazy.
No, I was buying watches and cars, and I was like thought I was Elvis. I was giving them to people. I was like, you like that here, bro? Like it was like.
So there was never like, so you never got back around to like that crew that you were with while you were locked up or like doing.
No. I all of a sudden I was around a bunch of fucking fake motherfuckers.
Yeah, like vampires.
Yeah. Then we had already gone to like. Then we're faced with the decision of how to follow it up, and I was like, we've already gone to pop radio.
Yeah.
So man. And the band's like, we're gonna make the heaviest record of our lives.
Opposite. Complete.
And I'm like, dude, I don't know if that's the move, dude. Like the heavy fools are booing.
Yeah.
Like we might as well become, no doubt.
Yeah.
Like let's run with this.
Yeah.
Like I can write butterflies all fucking day long. And the band's like, oh hell no, no more no butterflies.
Dude, totally opposite. Damn.
So like We spent like $500,000 with
Bunch of
Howard
us-
Benson
Howard
making
Benson. I worked with him.
That's
too.
right.
I love
Street.
Howard.
That's
Casey
Howard
Street,
did
yes.
Simple Toes
And
Motorhead.
Mike
Street.
Mike just did my new record.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Mike Platnikoff just did at that studio.
Oh, he's still with him, right? Oh shit. Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
Mike's
okay,
over
okay,
there,
Mike,
but he's
okay.
producing, and so I play.
Okay.
I got back on stage in 2015 with Brett. We were like found some old fucking. This is all over the place. I found some fucking.
Love this.
We found some old Crazy Town songs, and Brett was like, our fans really would like to hear something since we've been in rehab for 2 decades, and we should release these. So then me and Brett hooked up, and we made this record called The Brimstone Sluggers, going back to our roots.
Yeah.
We made this record. We didn't make it with the full band. We had them come in and play a guitar riff or whatever. It was more a hip-hop record, but it's a dope record. But we made this. We ended up making a record. We got excited. We got in the studio. We made this record, got signed to a label that fucking dropped the ball in every way. And, we went on tour, and I saw the beauty in it, and Brett saw the dark side of it, which is like, it doesn't matter how big Butterfly was, you don't tour for fucking 10, 15 years, and you got to build it back up.
100%.
So we showed up in a double-decker bus playing like venues that were too big for us in Europe, and, some of the venues were not packed.
Right.
Yeah.
But all of them had hundreds of people. And I was like, this is dope. There's people, every country in the world that still fucking love us.
Yeah.
Don't look at the empty seats.
Exactly.
Look at these kids who know every word of our music. And like we came back owing money. And so Brett was like, Seth, I'm making good money fucking doing fucking, soundtracks and doing the music for Walking Dead and fucking, scoring films. And I'm not down to leave my dog for this long.
Right.
And I was like, I just woke up under a tree with a beard after fucking, falling asleep. And I feel like I'm fucking 30 and this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my fucking life. So Brett was like, all right, bro. I said, I'm going to go out there and try to blow up Crazy Town again. And then when the fucking, it's comfortable enough for you, Brett, you come back. So basically, I just went on a tangent, and by touring, I found this kid in Italy, and I found this kid, and they were all in these other little bands, and I fucking recreated Crazy Town, and I got these players that made me feel like I did when I was young.
Oh, wow.
And I put together this band that I love, and I found these just kids, and I brought them together, and we made this new record, and we toured. Basically, I did what I didn't do before we got our record deal. I did that shit right before COVID, and for 2 years straight, I rolled around in fucking dirty-ass buses all over the fucking world, and it was the best time of my fucking life. And I played punk shows, and I went to every I said, I want to play every dirty bar in the fucking world. Damn. And my agent was like, you sure? I was like, yeah. I was like, I want to play every Viper room in the fucking world. And I think I did 230 shows a year for 2 years. Man. I fucking just... And fucking went out there and fucking the band got tight and and we did it and we hit the same spots. We came back around.
Yeah.
And what was dope about it is whether the people were coming just to hear Butterfly, they left like, I had no fucking idea you guys are badass.
Yeah.
Because they saw the whole show and it was real and it was fucking like we're not just like we're a band and like the band became more and more real over that time, and I came back to the same places and we started selling out again. And I started saying, it's fucking working. You know what I'm saying? Like everyone went and told their friends, like, dude, Crazy Town's the homies. So all of a sudden, like, we started like building up again, and I got this feeling like, dude, I can make this work again. It's not like, it's not going to be all fucking like, limos and rainbows, but it's fucking like, it's dirty buses, and I even like that more. So basically, like, we made it work. I had a bunch of young kids who were like, dude, I get to be in Crazy Town and be a part of like reinventing this band. And so we did that. And then I saved up all this money because I have like fucking debt issues that I'm fixing now. But then I was like, am I going to fucking do something like I used to do? Or am I going to invest in myself? And so I fucking took this box and I said, one of my favorite records we ever did was the Dark Horse record. That was the heavy one without a butterfly. And I was like, Howard Benson charged a fortune for that.
Oh, sure.
And I said, but that's my homie. So I called him up. I said, oh, Howard, I got these songs, and I want to make a new record. Will you listen to it? He goes, come by, Seth. And I came in there fucking, I was like, I got this, and I got these songs, and him and Mike listened to him, and Mike and Howard, he was like, listen, Mike's stepping out, doing his own thing, and he wants to do the record. And Mike and Howard are a team, so I was
Totally
like,
a
Mike's
team.
a badass. I was like,
He's a badass.
and he's like, so Mike said, these songs are fucking badass. I gave him 40 demos, and he was like, I can't even pick which 10 we should do, and we picked 10, and we started making the record, and then COVID hit. So now I got this record, and we're mixing it now, and I probably did another record since then. I have a new band that I'm doing with like some of my boys called Numbskulls that's like on some next shit, and I got a new Crazy Town record that I love, and that's with this new band. And Brett, actually, we put out a couple songs on YouTube that were like kind of not the biggest songs on the album, but I wanted to put out something.
Yeah.
So there's like a song called Life I Chose that we put out, and there's a song called Fly Away that I wrote about my best friend Bernard passing away. That's kind of special because I had his son sing the hook on it.
Oh, wow.
And, so we put those out, and then I realized, like, I got to figure out how this world works, like, because they've done decent, but, like, and so, like, I've been talking to some labels, and now I got an investor, and I'm going to do my own label, and I'm going to get an imprint, and I'm going to put out the shit, and for the first time, I'll have creative control, and, like, nobody's going to make a fucking video that I don't think is perfect, and nobody's going to, like, force me to do anything, and I get to, at least, like, obviously I'm older now. I want to sign bands. I love music. I want to produce bands, and I want to, the final chapter or whatever from this point forward, I would love to just like define what Crazy Town really is. Yeah. And have fun. I don't do this shit. It's always cool if you can make some money, but I do it because I love it. And, I ain't going nowhere, dude. I'm going to keep making fucking music, and I love my band. And the cool thing is somehow the fucking song hasn't gone away. Like, fucking has stayed around.
I love the remix. It just came out too.
Yeah, and that was like
cool,
but you know what that was? Somebody was like, dude, there's this kid on TikTok who redid your song.
Echo.
He's badass, right?
I like the True Romance reference you put in there, though.
Yeah.
My favorite movie, man. You dropped it in there.
Love that True Romance. And basically, it was a kid on TikTok who flipped it, which was
Toby.
Bro. I know bands like they read this shit with bands.
And so, like, I just covered one of the homies' songs, and he's like, I'm not clearing it. And I saw this young kid do a version of our song, and I said, that's what it's all about.
Dope.
Right? So I just, instead of like, I just said, you did a dope job. If you want me to jump on a verse, I'll do it. And so
you did. It's awesome.
And I just jumped on a verse. I figured, I loved it, and then I watched the crowd. Like, all these young kids are not the kids that didn't know how to process us. The younger generation is like, my mom always played that shit. I love Crazy Town.
Yeah.
So now I have this opportunity, and like, so we're doing songs. Like, the band is these young kids. Everyone in my band is 10, 15 years, 20 years younger.
Right.
So like, we're reinventing Crazy Town and keeping true to our roots, but like the sounds, like I'm experimenting with, like, who would want to make the same record over and over again?
Yeah, I don't do that.
So like, I'm evolving and I'm doing my thing, and if it's dope if I say it is.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like I'm just following my heart, doing what I like. I love what I do, and I just got to stick true to that.
Yeah, the verse you put on is awesome, man. Yeah.
Thank you.
On the remix, yeah.
And the new record is like, we're doing some shit, and it's heavy, it's melodic, it's cool, like. But I'm not afraid to like be experimental. I love all kinds of music.
Yeah. Do you listen to new shit too? Keep up on new hip hop and stuff?
Yeah, I do. And a lot of the young kids, are showing up at our shows, and I'll be like, oh, okay, all right. So I'm seeing all this younger, and then they come and they're like, these motherfuckers kick ass, because it's not like we're a novelty band. You come here, Butterfly, and you like leave with your girl and go get drunk. It's like you come and we'll rip your face off. Yeah. So it's like, and I believe in us as a band, not as me like financing my life off of being a novelty. Like, fuck that. I'm gonna make the biggest songs of my life right now.
I don't want to say gift and a curse, but like having the one big song that changed your life, and that's the one some people know. It's amazing thing because it changed your life. But at the same time, you get frustrated about it sometimes because you want to have. Did you want to have more?
I'd be lying if I said it didn't. But also, like, there's little things that like saved my. So that song came out. The band broke up, right? And then I get a call, or I went into a club, and I ran into Paul Oakenfold. And then I wrote the song Starry a Surprise. And his record, had everyone, all my idols, fucking Perry Farrell, Bono, fucking, you know, Ice Cube, fucking. This was this record done by Guy Oseary, and he asked me to be on it because Butterfly was out. I just wrote one song. You know how they said no more butterflies? So I wrote one kind of like it on the Paul Oakenfold record. And they're like, I was like, you want to do this with me? They're like, no, Seth. And then I wrote that one song, and that song saved my fucking ass. That song took his record from 150,000 to 1 million.
Reading about that.
So that was like my second hit.
At
least
it was hitting.
Oh yeah, in Europe, the UK charts. That's right.
Yeah. Okay, so that one charted. It wasn't. I mean, you can't be as big as Butterfly, but at least that song, like, I was like, okay, dude, you know what you're fucking doing, and it like gave me more confidence to just do what I do naturally. Like, I don't need
Starry-Eyed Surprise.
Starry-Eyed Surprise.
That's it, right? 2002.
So that 2002. That song did great, and you know what happened with that song is Madonna and Guy Oseary called me and said, we want to sign you. So then I did a solo record, and then fucking life's fucked up. And the second my record,
Lovesick, right?
Happy Lovesick came out, and I was ready to rock with that record. And I made that whole record in like my garage on like a Dell computer. It was nothing fancy, but Starry-Eyed Surprise was on it, so it did some shit, and that album did good. But you know what happened is the week it came out, Maverick sold, and Madonna sold the label. So it wasn't even about whether or not that record was good. They dropped every new artist on the label except me because Starry-Eyed Surprise was reacting, and then they kept their big ones. They kept Prodigy, they kept Deftones. But Guy was like, we're going to keep you. And then when we put it out, it went like top 20 in countries or whatever it did. You know, I'm not a fucking chart guy, but I know that it was reacting. But I had an office that had just been fired. There was no one to market it. There was no American thing. So like some of the European countries tried it. It did decent in some places. And then Guy called me and he said, Seth, he's like, it's just a fucked up time, man. It's just a fucked up time. This record could have been huge if we had our like everyone in place, but everyone was scurrying to keep their job and decide like, so, you know, but that's the music business.
100%.
So, you know, like, but then Starry-Eyed Surprise didn't go away either. And it fucking, like, all of a sudden it got a Coke commercial. And fucking, I'm running around buying Coca-Cola with money from the checks that say Coke on it. It was fucking, you know, it was like fucking, it was a fucking weird world. But I also, like, really beat myself. Like, I'd be lying if I said I had a lot of, like, relationship problems and things in my life and, like, you know, like problems with my band and like problems with the people I loved and like feeling like fucking misunderstood, and I like really hurt myself a lot for a long time. And tried to like run away from things I didn't like, and somehow I lived. And so now like
You're
I feel
a fucking survivor, man.
I feel wiser, and I feel like
how old are you now?
48 years old.
You look so good. You just get everything. Dude,
everything that you've
been through. You look so healthy. You look so good. Like you're everything.
You,
you're aging. It's crazy, bro.
You too.
Yeah, but you look so. I'm just saying though. Whatever you must drink a lot of water or some shit.
But you know what they say, man. Like you know
saying.
the body. That I mean, our bodies age, but our soul is like you know, like I'm still that kid.
I know you look young. I'm just saying for all the shit you've been through. Like fuck, dude.
Yeah, and I'm very grateful for that, man. Fuck.
Still got those looks, bro.
I'm very grateful to be healthy and alive, and like I've lost so many of my friends, and like. You know, I don't know why the universe, like some people, like have longer times on Earth.
Have you learned to like maybe like change kind of the people that are surrounding
Absolutely.
you? 100%.
That's what I
circle.
did. Right. I went through 15 band members.
Right.
And if motherfucker wasn't like my brother, or I didn't feel like they had my back, or they were like anything that made me like, it's about me being with people I trust and that I feel like I have to surround me. And I also like in after I died and I was laying like. I was in a coma.
Yeah, right.
You know, there's a lot of stuff that happened to me. I talked to like crazy ass shit, but I overdosed a few times, and there's some other shit. But
literally died, right? Yeah.
Literally died. Yeah, like brought back, like fucking. You know, like people die all the time, but I had some very close calls with death.
Yeah.
And then you get to see who's really there around your bed.
Oh yeah.
100.
And you get to see those things, and the friends that I grew up like Jesse. You know, a lot of them died, but like Jesse Phelps and like. Pasquale Rotella and Pat Tenori, you know, like those are the people that showed up in my bed and were like, Seth, you owe fucking K.
Yeah.
And like, those aren't the people I was calling when I was going through all my shit. Like I got lost in like all this shit.
Right.
Yeah.
And so like I re-identified with like, who are my people and who are the people that are who love me, you know, just for who's Seth, you know, and I lost sight of that, as well as I learned a lot, like even now, like to be honest, like, you know, I've had amazing stints with sobriety, and I've had
Yep.
great. And then, you know, I'm that guy who brought people in who I see taking 20-year cakes, and I'm still like gathering time, and like I'm still learning. And now I'm finding out, like, you know, that I have undiagnosed shit. Like, I went into all those rehabs, and because of MAP and Buddy Arnold and Music Cares and all these things, by being a musician, like, I was kind of privileged. I got sent to a lot of rehabs. A lot of people don't get those opportunities, and they still didn't fucking work, because I'm going in there and I'm getting misdiagnosed, and they're sticking, like, now, like, I'm looking into bipolar 2 and like whatever it may be, and it turns out if you fucking take antidepressants and you're that, it makes it worse.
Yeah.
And then, like, everything was moving so fast, man. So I'm learning a lot about, like, what I need to be the best version of myself.
Yeah.
And
you had lots of therapy too? You've been to all kinds of therapy, right, throughout your life? Yeah.
Not as much as I should have. I'm starting that now.
Yeah.
I've had, you know.
I want to start it too, just for me, just because I have, like, my dad died when I was super young. My mom raised 3 boys, and I always talk about this on the pod, but none of us have gotten therapy. But I think it'd be good for me to talk to somebody about it, because I definitely have dad issues for that, for sure. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and you know what? You know, like, on another note, like, you know what fucking pisses me off is you got the Screen Actors Guild, and they take care of their people, and fucking music.
What about Music Cares?
No, there's music.
Okay.
That's not the same thing. You're in fucking Screen Actors Guilds. You got teeth problems. You got this. You need to see a therapist. They're paying for your shit. But musicians, they blow us up. We're in one of the fucking most crazy ass industries where you're, you know, an entertainer, and you're doing drugs, and everything's right around you. And a lot of musicians don't get the fucking help they need.
Absolutely.
They don't. And even, you know, Music Cares, who does, and they care, and they try to help people. It's not enough at the end of the day. Like, I burnt my shit down into the ground, where I felt like I was incapable of saving myself.
Right.
You know, like, and I was able to, but, like, it just makes me have a lot of compassion for people who struggle with, you know, mental health and addiction. And so, like, I definitely want to dedicate a lot of my life into finding, like, programs and putting together, you know, charities and stuff like that as well. To help people, like, in similar situations, and not just musicians. Like, I watch kids who come to LA to be a fucking, you know, artist or whatever. It's like creative people in general. I don't give a fuck if you marry a tailor, whatever the fuck. If you come to LA and you get spun out on drugs, there should be a place for you to go get help.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
And
you're here for a reason, man, for sure, to help people, man.
Yeah, and so you know, I want to, like, help as many people as I can. I'm doing a documentary right now with my girlfriend.
Nice. About your life?
About our life and my life, and I think it's going to move a lot of people. Soleil is so good at what she does, and I feel like, and it's like, there's no one I trust more in the world to paint an authentic picture of what my journey has been like. Yeah, you know, and not just like I want people to see, you know, who I really am instead of shock value, and so I'm really excited about this documentary. It's exciting. I'm excited about new music, and I'm excited to be alive. Today is a wonderful day to be alive. Yeah, man. No doubt. I was like to have you here, man. This is fuck, and as well as, like, I you know, there's a lot of people in recovery that, like, I've respected and looked at and been like, why can't I get this thing? And you know, I want to you know, gravitate toward those people. Yeah, and every day's a new day. Right. Yeah, every day's a new day. Not to quote POD, every day is a new day. Won't take it for granted. That's my son, Max. Hey, what up, Max? How you doing? Yeah, so day to day, man. That's all it is, right? Yeah. Day to day, and you know what I will tell you though, like, I'm in a wonderful place, and I'm very grateful, and I'm excited about the future. And I'm excited for you, man. And you know, I'm stoked to have you in my house, man, just to meet you and talk to you and hear your story. Because we know so many similar people. We're so many different group friends. You know what I mean? I'm going to do, like, my own little dirty version of a podcast. I want to hear your story. Okay. You guys come on and let me ask you the questions. You should definitely do a podcast. I think it'd be awesome, man. Yeah, it'd be cool. You got a great voice, too. Your voice is amazing. I know, dude. Soothing. Your voice is soothing, too, but fuck, I was going to ask you some of the questions. Would you consider yourself an optimist or pessimist? Optimist. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I can see that too. Yeah. I mean, you're fucking still here. You're definitely fucking. I am an optimist. Yeah. Your whole life you've been like that? Even the dark times? I mean. Yes. I would like to, you know, I always, like, look for the light in any situation. Yeah. And, you know, I very grateful. Like my dad as well has a big heart. I have a big heart.
Yeah.
That's been most of my debauchery and craziness has been me punishing myself.
Right.
You know, me hurting myself, and in turn it has hurt the people I love.
Yeah.
But like, it's not like you know, I've learned from like all the stupid shit I did when I was a kid. Like, I'm wise.
Yeah.
You know, like I definitely feel like I'm alive. I'd love to just be that fucking cool cat telling stories, you know, on the porch with fucking beaded tattoos and a beard and fucking telling my grandchildren, you know, what it was like, you know, how many miles I had to walk through the snow to get to the studio and
all that shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been through a lot, man. It's exciting to see the next
life's
chapter
good,
for
man.
you. Yeah.
And, you know, we're all here for a short time, but I'm so grateful to be here and
yeah, man.
And be able to be creative, you know, like what I create from this point forward is the shit I create. So like, I'm going to pour my heart out into it and, you know, love what I do and try to help as many people as I can and live life, you know.
Is there anybody you wanted to work with you didn't get to yet, like a dream collab or something?
Oh yeah, no, without a doubt. So when we were deciding who to make our record with, it came down to
Bowie. Go ahead.
Oh, Bowie, come here. That's my baby. Long story short, I still want to make a record with Rick Rubin.
Oh yeah,
And
sick.
so,
Yeah.
We actually almost did the record with him, and it didn't work out because the band had different ideas, you know, and so that's
That'd be sick.
It's one thing I'd like to do. And Dre.
Dre would be sick.
If I could roll out of here making one record with Rick Rubin and one record with Dre, I'd be the happiest guy in the world.
Yeah.
Or even a song.
Yeah.
Let's make it more realistic. Let's make it more realistic. If I could do a couple songs with each of them.
Yeah.
You know, but at the end of the day, man, you know what? Like when I was little, like I just wanted to do this thing, and I've done it. Man.
Yeah, man.
I like it. It's all like from now on. It's just like doing what I love, because I remember like when I got a record deal, I was like, I'm gonna get a record deal. I'm gonna get a record deal. Fuck, I really got a record deal.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I have had, you know, the good, the bad, all the shit that I've been through. It's all fucking worth it, man. And looking back, like all the things that have tortured me or been the worst things in the world, I really have learned a lot from them. So it's like,
yeah, man.
Life is a beautiful journey.
Yeah.
And you know.
So you got a good lady now in a good place. You're chilling. Live by the water. You're chilling.
Yeah, I'm chilling.
You have any top 5 MCs?
My top 5 MCs? Absolutely.
I know like East Coast hip hop too. Yeah.
I would say Rakim.
Woo, that's mine.
Yep.
Number
Number
one.
one. Yep.
And then I would get, I mean, a couple of my top MCs are unknown. I would say MCA.
Yeah. Wow.
And then I would say,
Rakim,
and
MCA.
it's really hard for me to pick one of the Beastie Boys. Gangstar,
Yes.
the Guru, obviously.
Hell yeah.
Who I have some great memories with and hanging out with.
Damn. That's awesome.
And then I would, like, if I wanted to put, I would say AC Alone,
Who's that?
Freestyle Fellowship.
Okay, Freestyle Fellowship. Yeah.
Max,
Get her, man. Get Stella. Freestyle
I mean,
Fellowship.
how do you name 5? I'm gonna
hard.
lose this. Nas, Biggie, Tupac.
Yes.
Okay.
Here we go.
That's a legit list.
Yeah, but Rakim first. That's the
Rakim
best,
first. You know, like there's so many. I mean, there's so many. This is the dog
Max,
part of the.
get Stella, homie.
You know what? Like 5 is so hard because
5
I
is
want to
hard.
give homage to the underground
course.
cats.
Yeah.
And then you have your cats that changed, you know, your life, who were massive and everyone might name. And
Yeah.
Rakim is the one that voice, flow, everything. But then, you know, you got Grand Poobah. There's a lot of
Grand
dope
Nubian,
MCs.
yes.
Yeah, like that. It's hard to name 5.
I know, man.
It's hard to name 5, you know.
He's cool. He said Grand Poobah. That's fucking amazing. Redman, Method Man.
Meth, Woo. I mean, how are you gonna fucking see? I'm overlooking
Tribe, De La.
everybody. Tribe. I was gonna say Q-Tip. You know.
Even Cypress, bro. Fucking.
I mean,
real.
how are you not gonna say Cypress? You know, it's like that's what's beautiful about music. Is you don't need to like my shit. There's people that do.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why there's different styles of music.
Yeah.
And if you are having fun and you're true to what you do, then, you know, do your thing. I don't have to hate on you. I ain't judging somebody's music that I'm not feeling because I'm not one to judge it if it's not my thing.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's what I love about music. But with MCs, it's like there's so many amazing MCs who I respect because they're not like everyone else. So it's hard to name 5, you know?
Yeah.
It's a great point.
But
Q-Tip never gets mentioned in the top 5, it seems. And he should
Q-Tip's
be,
a beast. You know,
incredible,
Q-Tip's a
dude.
beast.
Yeah.
Like you brought up Redman, you know,
Yeah,
the Alcoholics.
Yeah.
Like you know, Tash, like J-Ro, like there's so many great MCs.
I love how Eminem always mentions Redman as top
I know,
5.
and how about I didn't mention Eminem?
Eminem, dude.
You know what I'm saying? It's like I have such, you know, it's like, and there's a lot of great new MCs, you know. It's so hard to.
I love J. Cole. I love Kendrick.
I love J. I mean, Kendrick. Come on, Kendrick's
those two, like
fucking legendary.
I know, but
and J. Cole's a bad motherfucker. But like, it's hard when they say you're top MCs of all time. I automatically go back to the old school. You know, like I go back to what my first
KRS-One.
I mean, KRS-One is on our first album.
Oh shit, really?
Yeah, he's on the first Crazy Town record.
No,
yeah, B-Boy 2000.
Wow, that's fucking dope.
Yeah, KRS. I mean,
that's cool.
You can
man.
go on and on. Yeah, I mean, obviously, Mad Lion and KRS.
Mad Lion.
Yeah. So,
damn.
I mean, so we knew our shit from the beginning. You know, it's like
because you have the East Coast and the West Coast flavor. Because living out there, it's great, man. It's a great combo.
I mean, Divine Styler's one of the dopest MCs out there. People that are like
sleep on him, yeah.
Yeah, people sleep. You know,
Everlast always mentions him,
and Everlast is no fucking joke either.
It's true.
You know, he's done a lot, so it's like, you know, Muggs is one of the baddest ass producers in the fucking world. You know, it's like don't forget about all these things, but you know, just I could go on and on, man. I love so many fucking artists, and there's so many people that are dope. You know, Public Enemy. I mean, what the fuck? Like Chuck D. Fucking come on, man.
Is there something?
I mean, how about De La?
You
know, it's like fucking. I could go on and on. Like, there's so many.
Is there something that you listen to?
You know, Premier,
Alchemist.
Fucking.
Is there some type of music or band you like that people will be like, "Holy fuck, you listen to that"? Something we would not expect for you to listen to.
I mean, I don't know. What would you?
Are you fucking with like
Sade? I love me some Sade.
Sade all day, bro.
Sade.
What like some pop music? Anything pop?
Well, you know what? I'd be lying if I didn't study like Little Peep. All right, Little Peep. That's what I'm saying. Is I heard about Little Peep. I was like, cool. You know, dirty white boy, tatted up, like drug addict. Let me look into this kid, right?
The doc was heavy.
Yeah,
man.
and then I watched the documentary. I was like, I fucking love this kid, and it kind of showed me like this kid, his struggle was different. Like this kid was making. He blew up out of a fucking computer in his bedroom. You know what I'm saying? He like made songs with producers he had never met, and it was just a different time.
Yeah.
And then when I look at how young he was and prolific he was, I was like, this kid was fucking special.
I know.
He was a fucking special thing. And I'm open to like
Juice WRLD too, man.
And Juice WRLD too.
It's a heavy doc too. I was watching.
And you know what's fucked up is me. Like I got to do so many drugs that it made me insane and whatever, and like. You know, and the other thing is, fucking people like to single me out as being like this drug addict, and it's like, homie, like, drug addicts have been around. Like these people that I look up to were drug addicts, and they're not put like, you know, like Kiedis is one of my biggest influences. Fucking, you know, like Weiland, like all these people. It's like it's weird. People like judge because the drug you do. All these motherfuckers did the same drugs I do. Don't get it twisted. I partied with them. Like, you know, I just was scared of heroin because I had so many friends die of it. I stayed away from it.
Yeah.
You know, I remember.
Is that the one thing you didn't ever done?
No, I've done it.
Oh, okay.
I've done it, but I never let myself go down that path because I was like, this shit will kill me. It kills every person I love.
Right. Yeah.
So like I was like, I'm going to go with the Coke thing. Not so many people I know die from Coke, you know, but like, and somehow I lived.
Right.
Yeah, man.
But then like, all the people that you look at as heroin addicts, believe me, they had their fucking Coke too, like the speedball and all day long. Iggy Pop, everybody did all these things, like, and like I don't. That's another thing. Is like, I've gone through all this shit, but like, I respect all those fucking musicians' journey, and and I love to see fucking them get clean. And I love to see them become like the best versions of themselves, and evolve, and the music they make once they get sober, and like. You know, like I love music and I love this world and I love watching people grow and like we're all here like, you know, I'll tell you one thing, the motherfuckers you got to be afraid of are the people that never show what the fuck is fucked up because we're all fucked up. You know, the motherfuckers that are hiding it are doing some freaky shit. Yeah. You know, like so.
Yeah.
You know,
man.
like I don't mind putting my shit out there.
You wear your heart on your sleeve, for sure, man.
I wear my heart on my sleeve and It's all good, man. But I'm so happy to be on this,
I'm stoked to have you here,
podcast.
dude.
I'm glad you thought of me.
It's a fucking honor to have you in my kitchen, man.
It's an honor to meet you too. And
Definitely.
It's a small world, dude.
it is a fucking small world.
I'm happy you're alive and you're here to tell your story, man.
Thank you, brother.
'Cause
I think that struggle of like you said, everybody gets knocked down.
Facts.
Everybody. It's just really is that battle of getting back up, and that's
And that's what defines us.
really inspirational.
That's
by
what
you.
defines us.
Right, and that's what I love. Inspirational for me, even though I never had like a drug life of using or anything, but it's inspirational hearing your story.
Yeah,
from
100%,
you because
dude.
it's that battle of getting knocked down. And being able, but what you do after you get knocked down.
Yeah,
that's what I'm.
That's what defines you.
Right, exactly.
100%.
The way you act after you've
No
fallen
doubt.
down.
Right.
You've gotten up
Get
so
back
many
up.
times,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Absolutely.
And believe me, not losing that fire to keep going, like that's been, like, believe me, like I got mad respect for the people who came into like the program. Let's just go there.
Mm-hmm.
Who come in and they blossom and they find a home and they don't fuck up ever again.
Yeah.
And then there are some people that come in that disappear, or there are people who don't get it. And I don't know, why certain people can't get it, whether it's mental issues or whatever
Yeah.
it is. You know what I'm saying? But like, there's nothing more, humbling than walking back into a room over and over again after you're already beating yourself up and fucked up. But there's something that makes me stronger by being able to do that. And I
Yeah.
feel like my stints of sobriety, even though my journey hasn't been perfect, have kept me alive. And they've also, like, I don't take away what, like, if I have 4 years and I stumble and then I get back up and I was like, fuck, I just found out something else about myself that I need to work on.
Yeah.
And then I get back up and I go for another 3 years. Then I'm not going to take away those 4 years.
No.
Do you see what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
even I might start my time over, but man, I've grown so much since I was the kid
Yeah.
who didn't even want to get sober.
Yeah.
So like, I'm on, this is I have my story and you have your story. And it's just all about, staying alive and growing as a human being. And,
Yeah, man.
so.
Right on. Yeah.
Fuck, man. I want to come to your 50th birthday party. Wherever
let's
that's
do
going to
it.
be.
Let's do that.
We'll be fucking drinking some liquid death.
Liquid death.
Eating some
I
veggie
do
burgers.
love the feeling of like liquid death is like I'm holding a beer.
I know. It's crazy,
You know?
bro.
Because I don't want what the beer would lead to, but like holding this, like,
Yeah.
it's fucking badass. Look at that fucking
Yo,
thing.
my
Liquid
mother-in-law
death.
was just here, and she took one to the grocery store, and they asked me if she wanted a bag. And she's like, for what? I haven't bought any groceries. I said, no, for your beer. She's like, no, it's water. Like, oh, shit. They were tripping
Yeah,
out
I was
at
in the
grocery
studio the
store.
other day, and someone
hear
was
it all
like,
the time.
fuck it, I'll have a beer with Shift. And I was like, this ain't a beer, bro.
It's so
Yeah,
cool. It's the marketing
Yeah.
genius, man.
Yeah, it's good.
Any other questions you have, this young man?
No, sir, I don't.
Dude, thank you so much, man. This is awesome.
And
So
thank you.
glad we
If I
connected.
talk too much,
No, I love
so
you
much
talk.
information.
It's all good.
No, I
No,
love it.
not at all.
I'm stoked for your documentary and maybe like a fucking autobiography book someday or some shit.
I definitely want to write a book. And
Yeah, dude. There's so much. You can help so many people with your story, man.
I know.
You know what I mean?
As we all
For sure.
can help
Yeah.
people. That's what, it's all about, helping people for all of us.
Yeah, man.
No doubt.
All right, well, thank you,
said,
man. Thanks
well
for being
said.
here.
Thank you.
They can
Pleasure.
find you on the gram. Is it The Real Crazy Town, right?
The Real Crazy Town on the gram.
So they find you.
Yo.
New music coming. You have your own label coming. All kinds of shit's
All
coming.
kinds of shit's coming.
I want to see you guys live, too. I missed that show. I saw you guys just play
Yeah,
there.
please
It looked
come,
awesome.
Please
Yeah,
come check
I
us
would
out.
I'd love
definitely
to see you
wanna-
guys
You know which
live.
one you got to see?
What?
We're doing the 50th anniversary of the Rainbow.
Oh, shit.
And we're playing,
Okay.
Orgy, Steel Panther.
Shit. Is that
that's
soon? What's the date on that, you know?
Yeah.
I can tell you the
Yeah,
date.
tell me the date, yeah.
Let me look real quick.
Yeah, I
in
want
my
to pull up to
phone.
that, man. That'd be fucking
That shit's
sick.
in. They're blocking off the street. It's gonna be.
Oh, it's
off
gonna be
the
outside?
hook. Yeah,
Oh, shit.
nice.
it's gonna be fucking dope.
Damn.
And it is. Why can't I
That's
find
kind of
my
cool you're
li-
doing that. That's right near your stopping grounds when you had that spot by Mark Mahoney's.
Exactly. So anyway,
Shout out to Mark Mahoney, too, the
Yeah,
legends.
shout out to Shamrock Social Club.
Cody Mack.
And we will be playing live at the Rainbow 50th anniversary on Sunday, April 24th.
Oh, shit. You'll be on tour, son. I'll be here, though.
Oh
I
shit!
think I will be here, mister.
Dude, thank you for sharing your story,
Yeah,
man. I'm
please
so.
come down.
And the doc will be next year, probably.
You can get up and do Butterfly with me.
There you go.
Fuck,
That's
imagine,
done.
bro, that'd be shit.
Let's do it. Let's rock that shit.
You heard it here.
Oh, shit. It could happen.
All
All right. Thank you, brother.
All right, brother.
Bye. Hey, guys. Thanks for listening. Please rate, review, subscribe. If you haven't subscribed yet to this podcast, please do that. And whatever platform you are listening to this on, I'm glad you found me. You can rate me and review me on there also. So thank you guys sincerely for the support. I cannot wait for you guys to hear the next one.